came to you before this video ended to tell you something that maybe nobody has told you in these exact terms. Suddenly, everything is going to shift, and when it happens, you'll understand why it took this long. What you've already buried as lost forever, what you stopped mentioning out loud because it hurt too much, is about to start breathing again right in front of your eyes. This isn't some pep talk. I saw the exact moment you decided to stop hoping. The date, the time, the look on your face, and it was right there that I started working in silence. Stick around until the end of this video, because before it's over, I'm going to show you the precise sign that proves restoration has already started behind the scenes. Before it shows up in the physical world, you wake up at 3 in the morning. Always the same time, no alarm, no obvious reason you can put your finger on. It's not the noise from the street. It's not the heat under the blanket. It's an instinct twisting through your body, yanking you out of sleep like someone tapped you on the shoulder, and you just lie there, staring at the ceiling in the dark, trying to figure out why your heart is already racing before your mind is even fully awake. And it's not just at night. During the day, in the middle of some ordinary task, in traffic, in a meeting, you feel a weight in your chest that has no name. It's not the weight of a specific problem you can solve with a decision. It's a dull, constant pressure that settled in from the day you silently decided that thing, that person, that dream, that chapter of your life wasn't coming back. And when the house gets quiet, when everyone else has gone to sleep and you're alone with your own thoughts, you take inventory in a way nobody else sees. You count, mentally, everything that hasn't arrived yet. What should have happened and didn't. The list of promises that once seemed certain, guaranteed, and now live only in your memory, tucked away like a faded photograph. You revisit that list almost every night, like someone checking an old wound just to confirm it still hurts. And early in the morning, before anyone else in the house wakes up, you look at yourself in the mirror for a few seconds longer than you need to, and you see someone who's learned to smile by pulling the corner of their mouth with effort, someone carrying a grief that's never been spoken out loud, because you are ashamed to admit that deep down, you were still waiting. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual, with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video. But someone carrying a grief that's never been spoken out loud, because you are ashamed to admit that deep down, you were still waiting. And you've learned to do all of this in absolute silence. Nobody at your job knows. Nobody in your family suspects the real size of this pain. You've become an expert at looking like you've got it all together on the outside, while inside you're still holding a request you never had the courage to repeat out loud, afraid of hearing another no. Or worse, hearing no answer at all. This isn't weakness. It's not a lack of faith like someone might have hinted to you. It's the heart of a person who loved a promise so much it hurt too badly to let go of it for good. And if you're still here, if you're still waking up, still breathing, still watching this video to this point, that's already living proof that you haven't truly given up. You just learned to hide very well, that you're still hoping. If any of these scenes just found you, drop a like now, before you keep watching. This isn't video vanity. It's not engagement metrics. The like is your public amen. Heaven records what you confess openly, and right now it's seeing you confess in front of strangers that you still have faith hidden behind the exhaustion. Let me tell you 3 things before I continue, because each one of them will come true within this very video. First promise. What seemed dead in your life didn't die. It just went out of sight. It never left God's hands. Second promise. In a few minutes, you're going to receive a simple, free protocol that reveals the exact point where restoration begins again. In your specific life. Not in some generic story about someone you'll never meet. Third promise. By the end of this video, you'll be able to declare, with a name and a deadline handed over to God, that what was lost is coming back. I know the exact date you decided to stop hoping. I saw the day. I saw the time. I saw the look on your face when you told yourself quietly that it was over, that there was no fixing it. And I want you to hear this carefully. It was right there, in that moment of silent surrender, that I started working behind the curtain. You didn't see it. You didn't feel it. But I was already moving. While you were crying in secret, I was already preparing the way back. While you pretended you had forgotten, I was already gathering the pieces that seemed too scattered to ever make sense again. The silence you interpreted as abandonment was actually the sound of God working on a frequency your natural ear couldn't pick up yet. Stick with me until the end of this video. What's coming now isn't just a figure of speech. It's not a pretty phrase to make you feel good for a few minutes. These are real signs, already happening in your life right now, proving that what you think is lost forever is already being prepared to return. Close your eyes for a moment, or look away from the screen for a second, because what's coming next isn't a generic list that applies to anyone. These are specific signs, and one of them, the last one, is going to sting just to hear. The first sign you already experienced this week, and you probably didn't even realize its magnitude. You're doing something ordinary. Washing dishes, driving through traffic, standing around waiting for something at work, and out of nowhere, with no trigger at all, the name, the face, or the memory of what you lost rises to the surface of your mind. You probably called that random nostalgia, or your mind wandering aimlessly with no purpose. That's not what it is. That's your spirit being realigned to the promise before your mind even accepts that it's still standing. God doesn't let what belongs to Him grow cold in the memory of someone who's about to receive it back. If that name keeps rising, without you calling it, it's because it still has a future in your story. The second sign is more concrete, more physical. You stumble by chance across an object, a place, or a song that was directly tied to what you lost. Maybe a song plays on the radio just as you get in the car. Maybe you pass by a place you haven't visited in years and feel your chest tighten for no reason. Maybe you find, tucked in a drawer you didn't even remember opening, some small object that carries the entire weight of that story. You thought it was coincidence. Maybe you even thought it was fate cruelly messing with your memory. But it's no joke. I deliberately reopened the door to your memory because before I give back what's yours, I need you to remember the exact size of what's returning. The third sign lives in your mouth. When someone asks about it and you try to tell the whole story in the past tense, as if it's closed, you freeze. It doesn't come out clean. Some part of you refuses to close that chapter as definitively over, even when everyone around you has already closed it for you. Stopped asking, assumed you've turned the page. That's not stubbornness on your part. It's not difficulty accepting reality like someone might have told you. It's your spirit refusing the grief, because in the spiritual realm, that chapter isn't over yet. The fourth sign happens while you're asleep, which makes it easier to ignore. You have recurring dreams, revisiting the same scene of loss, but with a different ending than what actually happened in real life. Sometimes it's a conversation that never really happened, ending a different way. Sometimes it's the same face, but with a different expression than the one you stored in your memory. You wake up confused, sometimes even crying without knowing exactly why, not understanding where it came from, unable to explain to anyone the weight of that dream. That's the Holy Spirit rewriting the ending before it happens in the natural. I show you, while you sleep, what I've already decreed over your life on earth. The next sign is the hardest one to hear. It's the one the enemy spent the most time trying to make you ignore, because he knows that if you understand this sign, he loses control over your waiting. The fifth sign is a peace that arrived without warning, specifically over the subject that used to hurt, just to mention. You tried to doubt it. Some voice whispered in your ear that this peace was just you finally giving up, settling in, swallowing the word never for good. It's not giving up. It's not resignation disguised as spiritual maturity. It's the certainty planted by God that He's already resolved behind the scenes exactly what seemed irreversible in your eyes. The peace that comes from God isn't the end of hope. It's the proof that the answer is already on its way. If any of these 5 signs just found you, write free in the comments now, before you keep watching. You don't need to explain. You don't need to tell the whole story to strangers. Just write the word free, because heaven is recording every confession made openly, and that word will mark the exact moment you recognized what was already happening. Close your eyes for a second. Breathe deep, slowly. What I'm about to tell you won't work if your attention is split between this video and something else. Just for this next minute, be fully here with me. There's a man in the Bible named Job who lost practically everything he had in a single day. He lost his children. He lost the wealth he'd spent his whole life building. He lost the health of his own body, and he even lost the respect of his closest friends, who instead of comforting him, turned into accusers, saying it all must be his fault. And for a long time, Job did the only thing that seemed to make sense in the face of so much loss. He demanded explanations. He cried out to heaven asking why. He argued with God chapter after chapter, sitting in ashes, demanding a logical answer for a pain that didn't fit into any logic. But Job's restoration didn't start when he finally got the explanation he wanted so badly. God never gave him a detailed explanation of why so much suffering happened. Restoration began at the exact moment Job stopped demanding explanations and started interceding again, praying for the same friends who had accused him while still in the middle of his own ruin, with no guarantee that things would get better. It was there, exactly at that point when he thought he'd never have anything back, that the scriptures say the Lord restored Job's fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before losing it. Not a replacement equal to what existed before. Double. Because God's restoration never gives back exactly the same size as the loss. It gives back more than expected as a sign that the time of silence was never wasted. You're exactly at that point now. Not at the end of your story, like exhaustion has been convincing you. At the exact point where the demand for an explanation needs to turn into intercession, where stopping the why and starting to pray again is what unlocks the next chapter. And outside the Bible, there's another image you've probably seen hundreds of times in your life and never stopped to understand the spiritual weight of. In winter, a tree looks completely dead. The branches are bare, without a single leaf. The bark is dark and dry, and anyone looking from the outside, without understanding the process, swears there's no life left inside. But underneath that dark bark, the sap is already rising. The tree is already preparing internally to bloom long before any leaf appears to the eyes of someone rushing by who doesn't even notice the trunk. What looks like death on the outside in the tree is just a season. It's not an end. And that's exactly what's happening to you right now, today, as you watch this video. Like Job, and like the tree in winter, you're passing through the silent season that always comes before the harvest. It's not the end of your story. It's the winter that comes right before the sap shows up in leaf, in fruit, in visible life again. Think about this. Nobody plants a tree in winter, looks at the bare branches, and says it's dead for good. Someone who understands seasons waits. Someone who doesn't understand cuts the tree down, thinking they're doing a favor, and destroys exactly what was about to bloom. If you recognized yourself in either one, write now in the comments, Job of my own story or the tree in winter. Write which one better represents what you're living through today. Because this thing that looks like an absence of life on the outside is about to become living proof that God never left you dry on the inside. Let me pause for a full minute before I continue. You've faced countless nights doubting that what you lost would ever truly come back into your life. You've received signs, seen doors crack open slightly, and tried to ignore each one, afraid of hoping in vain again and getting disappointed once more. You've carried grief for something that, deep down, you never really accepted as definitively buried, even while telling everyone around you that you'd moved on, that everything was fine. You arrived at this video today, on this exact day, because a part of you, the most honest part, the part that doesn't lie even to yourself, never swallowed the never again that life tried to sell you as the final verdict. These are facts. They're not accusations against you. They're just an honest portrait of someone who stayed standing even while carrying a weight that most people would have dropped halfway through. And here's who you are inside all of this. I never stopped seeing you. I know exactly how much it hurt to accept the lost forever in front of others, smiling, pretending you were at peace, while inside you still kept hope hidden, like someone hiding treasure from a thief who could appear at any moment. I saw every piece of what seemed destroyed in your life, and I kept them, every single one. Nothing that was yours was lost under my hand. Nothing. You are the restored. It's not distant hope. It's a done deal. I saw when you accepted the never again just to survive the pain, without really believing it inside, just to get out of bed the next day and keep functioning. I saw you pretend you had accepted it, knowing deep down it was a lie you told yourself. I saw every time you almost truly believed it was the end, and I kept a small ember burning that you didn't even know you still had. What this identity authorizes is for you to stop protecting your heart from hope, as if hoping were dangerous, and start naming, without any shame, exactly what you want back. You are the guardian of what was sealed. This is already decreed over your life. It's not a title you have to earn. I saw you keep secret the desire to regain what you lost. Afraid of looking weak, afraid of being called someone who still hasn't moved on, who still lives in the past. I saw every prayer whispered into your pillow, late at night, when no one else was listening but me. What this identity authorizes is for you to stop treating that desire as shame and start declaring it openly in prayer, out loud, without hiding anymore behind pride or fear of others' judgment. You are the harvester of the silent season. It's not motivational talk. It's sealed destiny. I saw your faithfulness during the entire time when nothing seemed to move, when it seemed like continuing to pray wasn't doing a single bit of good. I counted every day of silence you went through without truly giving up, even when you said out loud that you were going to. What this identity authorizes is for you to stop measuring your spiritual progress by what hasn't visibly returned yet, and start acting today as someone who has already received. Notice that none of these three identities depend on what has already visibly returned in your life. They are true now, today, before any external proof. That's what separates faith from anxious waiting. Faith acts before seeing, because it has already heard. If any of these three identities just fell on you now, write its name in the comments. The restored, the guardian of what was sealed, or the harvester of the silent season. And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, subscribe right now, because words like this will keep coming to you at the right time whenever you need them most. Now I'm going to give you the protocol of the sealed return. It's 3 steps, nothing complicated, nothing that costs money, nothing that requires a long wait. It only requires simple obedience today, now, while your heart is still open from this video. Step 1. Name out loud, right now, exactly what was given up as lost forever in your life. Don't think vaguely. Don't just stay with the feeling. Say the name of the person, the dream, the situation, whatever it is. God doesn't work with vagueness. He works with what is clearly named. If you need to, say it even louder, because naming is the first act of faith after a long period of silence. Step 2. Take a real piece of paper or open the notes on your phone right now and write down the exact date you decided to give up on that thing. Write that date out in full and hand it over to God as a finished chapter, not as a final sentence over the rest of your entire life. Step 3. Declare in prayer, with your own words, without needing to memorize anything, that what is kept by God will appear in His timing, not in the timing of fear that rushes you to give up before the right moment. And the sign that you've truly received this won't be euphoria. It won't be an explosive feeling of instant joy. It will be a quietness, a peace that descends without a fuss, without fireworks, just a silent certainty settling slowly inside your chest. Don't confuse this quietness with indifference. Indifference is when you don't care anymore. Quietness is when you care so much that you decided to stop fighting alone and hand the fight over to the one who can actually resolve it. If you're feeling this quietness right now, as you hear these words, write "received" in the comments. It's your confirmation before heaven that the protocol has been activated in your life, today, at this exact moment. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be thrown against you. Not as a distant possibility, as a certainty. The first is called poisoned nostalgia. It will come making you relive the loss with specific details, vivid images, just to reopen the wound, without ever pointing forward, without ever reminding you of the promise I already made. It wants you stuck in a constant replay of the pain, repeating the scene over and over instead of walking toward the restoration that's already coming. The second is called false urgency. It will come whispering that time has run out, that you should have given up long ago, pushing you toward rushed, hasty decisions that close doors God still wants to keep open in your life. It uses the clock as a weapon against you, but its clock was never heaven's clock. The third is called cheap replacement. It will come offering an inferior version of what you lost, an imitation easier to reach, faster, more available, just to stop you from waiting for the full, true version that God is preparing in silence, out of your sight. And there's a fourth voice, the most dangerous of all, because this one doesn't come from outside. It comes from inside you. It's the voice that whispers quietly, "You already had your chance, and you blew it." This voice disguises itself as maturity, disguises itself as realism, disguises itself as adult common sense. But it doesn't come from heaven. It comes from the one who is afraid that you will truly believe again. Each of these 3 tactics has already tried to work on you before, at other times in your life, and maybe they even worked for a while. But this time is different, because now you know their names. And what has a name loses the power of disguise. Write "protected" in the comments now, before you continue. The decree has been sealed over your life, and none of these 3 tactics, nor the voice inside that tries to disguise itself as wisdom, will have the last word in your story. Now take a deep breath one more time, because what comes next is the most important moment of this entire video. Now put your hand over your chest. Just that for now. Feel the beating of your own heart for a moment. Slowly. Close your eyes if you can, and breathe deeply 3 times. I want you to hand over 3 burdens before you keep watching. Hand over the grief for the never again that you carried, as if it were absolute, definitive, irreversible truth. Hand over the shame of still desiring in secret what everyone around you has already told you to forget for good. Hand over the fear of hoping again and being disappointed once more. The same fear that made you pretend to everyone that you no longer cared about it. Say it out loud now, alone, however you are. I hand this over to God. Now. I saw you wake up at 3 in the morning, without an alarm, without any explanation, just your heart racing before your mind was even fully awake. I didn't let you wake up for nothing on those nights. I was calling you inward, preparing you for this exact moment, for this surrender you're making right now. I also saw the weight you carried in your chest with no name that followed you even during the day, while you smiled to keep up appearances in front of others. And I saw the inventory you took alone, at night, counting everything that still hadn't returned. I heard every one of those counts as prayer, even when you thought it was just lamenting. I saw you in front of the mirror, early, before anyone else in the house woke up, practicing a smile that didn't reach your eyes, carrying alone a grief you never told anyone out loud, not even the people closest to you. I saw every single one of those mornings. And I kept one by one every piece of what seemed destroyed in your story. Now I cover your mind so it stops reliving the past as if it were a final sentence and starts seeing the future as a promise in progress. I cover your relationships so that no one else has the power to convince you that what I promised won't come true in your life. I cover your time, your timing, so that you stop chasing the clock of fear and start truly resting in heaven's clock, which is never late. And I cover specifically this area of your life that you had already given up as lost forever. It was never out of my reach. Never. I didn't come here today to give you another pretty speech for you to forget tomorrow. I came to rescue something you had already buried, with a date marked, with its name erased from the list of possible things. And I want you to understand one thing before you leave this video. My forever was never the same as the forever on your calendar of fear. What was definitive to you was only a pause to me. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's covenant. You're leaving this video different from how you entered it. From grief to hope. From shame to boldness. From fear to certainty. From lost to restored. I'm sending you back to your routine now, to your ordinary day, but you won't return the same way you came here. Say it out loud now. It is done. I am not who I was when this message began. Say it again, with more firmness this time. What seemed lost forever is returning in God's time. Keep that phrase. Not to post somewhere. Keep it to repeat quietly in the early mornings when the old habit of waking up for no reason tries to come back. On those nights, you won't take inventory of what's still missing anymore. You'll remember what has already been decreed over your life. It is done. What was handed over here was truly handed over. If you received this word today, truly, write "done" in the comments now, before you leave this video, before you scroll to the next one. And if there's someone you love who is also secretly carrying a never again inside their chest, a grief they never told out loud, send this video to that person now, by their name, directly, not to some random message group. Send it specifically to them, because maybe this is exactly the word they need to hear today, on this day, at this hour. And if they want to go beyond this word, if they want closer guidance to get through this waiting, the link is pinned in the first comment, waiting for them the same way God waited for you, until this video found you. In the next video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do when the sign actually appears, right in front of you, and fear tries to convince you it's too late to believe in it. Don't miss that next video, because the second part of this word will teach you to recognize the exact day when what has returned knocks on your door. It is done. You are not the same person you were when this message began. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.